All right. Another fun fact while we wait for this hold to resolve um, is we always take pride in naming our hardwares, and most of them have been in honor of some exceptional minds. So, Akhil, why don't you tell us about some of our naming conventions?
Yeah, I mean, if you can see in the rocket itself, all our rockets and the launch vehicles are named in the honor of Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, the very like father of Indian space program we call him, and all our solid rocket motors, their names are dedicated to Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, our very own missile man, and all our cryogenic engines, we have dedicated the names to Dr. Satish Dhawan, which we are like the center we have also Satish Dhawan Space Center dedicated to him. And then we have our hypergolic engines, Raman. And then we have dedicated that name to Nobel laureate Dr. C.V. Raman and our mission computer after the renowned mathematician Srinivas Ramanujam
So yeah, I think we're gonna keep up this idea of naming our hardwares after scientists.
until we run out of, and out of scientists. Yeah,
Yeah, so I think
not the hardware.
we need the young budding viewers who've joined us in the launch gallery to become scientists themselves and famed scientists who take India to great heights, so that we may have names.
Yes, right now, maybe. Coming to one more interesting fact, I think a lot of people they don't know this. Like, if you look at a launch vehicle, it seems pretty rigid at first. But the interesting fact is when the entire rocket, when in flight, it experiences combined effect of aerodynamic loads, engine thrust, wind gust, and due to different steering maneuvers, the teams or the designers deliberately give some flexure or like they make rockets slightly less rigid so that it can actually bend along its length throughout the flight. This is intentional, that designing an absolutely rigid rocket would make it significantly heavier and less efficient. And it also creates a complex engineering challenge. As the structure bends, the onboard sensors can detect these motions, so the guidance and control system must distinguish the rocket's actual altitude and structural flexing to avoid unnecessary control corrections. And engineers carefully predict these bending modes and their natural frequencies through the structural dynamics and aeroelastic analysis, ensuring the vehicle remains stable even as it flexes its way through one of the most demanding phase. And this flexure could go up close to 10, 10 centimeters, I think. Yeah, close to 10 centimeters. That's pretty huge.
That's right, Akhil. Something for the kids who might be, looking at this live stream. So, rockets don't just fly, they keep falling around Earth. It might be difficult to imagine this, but people often imagine astronauts escaping Earth's gravity. The truth is, gravity never lets go. Even the International Space Station is constantly falling towards the Earth, but it's moving sideways at so high speed that it keeps missing the ground. And that's what we call as orbit.
Yeah, that's wonderfully put.
Orbit is a state of perpetual free fall.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's right. And you spoke about how astronauts on the International Space Stations are also constantly falling towards Earth. And with us today in the Mission Control Center is our very own astronaut, Shubhanshu Shukla. And he's been following Skyroot's journey from a very close distance. He's part of our family as well. And he's here to cheer us on. So we thank him for his presence.
One more interesting fact for our viewers that rockets get lighter every second. Unlike an airplane, a rocket becomes lighter every second because it continuously burns and throws away propellant. Because in aircrafts we have air breathing engines,
this vehicle
so
directed
the
to all
oxidizer
stations.
itself is the air
The
that
reason
the
for hold has been
turbofan sucks in.
identified.
But when
And
you have
resolved.
a
We'll be
rocket,
reinitiating ALS soon.
when you have a rocket, you
after
cannot
finalizing on a
have
T0.
yeah. So when we are dealing with rockets, there is no air outside air can enter and can be utilized for propulsion. So we have to carry our own bottles of oxidizers and fuel. And once the rocket is ignited and it's on its way through the entire flight, the propellant is expelled. And when the stage gets burned out, it's also thrown away or jettisoned. So that is why rocket keeps accelerating, because there is less and less mass to push.
That's right, Akhil. A rocket may weigh hundreds of tons on the launch pad. Consider our Vikram 1, it weighs around 45,000 kgs on the launch pad, but nearly 90% of that weight is just propellant.
That's really amazing. That structural mass is so less. I mean,
The views on your screen are from the launch gallery at Sriharikota, and we have thousands of students who've joined us from all over the nation, and they're eagerly waiting the launch of India's first privately built orbital launch vehicle, Vikram 1. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, it's a test flight, and we'll be doing a few of these before we move into routine commercial operations. We are in a state of hold for now. For the viewers who've just joined us, we have successfully initiated the automatic launch sequence at T minus 11 minutes, and a lot of the key events that went into this have been executed. We have a hold right now at T minus 5 minutes, and just to recap, we've had the switch over to internal power, wherein the vehicle is now powering itself. All of the null checks on our actuators have been completed. So essentially, the vehicle's steering systems are in great health. And we're at a planned hold. One quick look at the rocket as well, standing on the launch pad. All right, we're getting updates from the mission control teams. The hold that you observe on your screens was due to a hold raised by the navigation team.
Vehicle directed to launch
Where-
control. Please do the needful pre-exercises to reinitiate ALS and confirm your readiness.
And
Copy.
we've gotten confirmation that we will be starting ALS shortly. So please stay tuned. So we had a planned hold, and we've just heard from the mission teams below that we are ready to restart the automatic launch sequence shortly. And just to recap once again, Vikram 1 is on the launch pad. It's ready and eagerly awaiting its first test flight. We've had the initiation of the automatic launch sequence, and through that we've completed the internal power switchover, which means the vehicle is now powering itself using its own batteries. We've also had the null checks been completed, and we're now waiting for the next window to come about for the ALS to restart.
so now that we know that the ALS is on hold and soon we'll be back with a new time and the restart of ALS, let's talk about the entire journey of Vikram 1, the mission sequence. Now we know that first 100 seconds of the flight, the stage 1 will power the rocket to the denser layers of the atmosphere, and exactly at an altitude of 53 kilometers at 103 seconds, the stage 1 burnout will happen and the stage separation will initiate. And after that, the stage 2 will ignite and it will power the rocket through the thinner layers of the atmosphere while keeping the same level of acceleration. That is the point. And later on in the stage 2, during the stage 2 burn duration, later half, you have the payload fairing and it separates, and this is the first time when the payload or the satellite is exposed to the atmosphere or to the space, thinner, the higher layers of atmosphere, which is exactly nearly close to space.
Yeah.
Having protected the satellite throughout the ascent, that the fairing's job is done.
Yeah, that's right, Akhil. And you mentioned that the PLF or the payload fairing is the portion that essentially protects the satellite from the difficulties of the environment that the rocket goes through. The question then becomes, how do we separate all our stages, right? So we use something which is very unique, and we're very proud of that. In-house to Skyroot, we
Vehicle
have
director
the
to control,
separation teams
please set the
which
T0
have
as
developed a
12:05, 30
pneumatic
seconds.
ultra low shock mechanism, and the whole goal of this
Control to
mechanism
vehicle
is it
director.
relays very
Confirm
little
the
shock
T0
to the
as
payload
12:05,
itself.
30 seconds.
So
Roger.
the payloads usually carry very sensitive
Noted.
electronics and instruments. So if you have a
Control
shock
calling
event
timing.
come about, it may
Timing,
damage
sir, please
some
go
of the
ahead.
sensitive instruments.
Timing, you can
So that's
set
why
the
we
revised
specifically
T0
made
to
it a point to develop
12:05,
this
30 hours
pneumatic
IST.
ultra low
Okay.
shock separation mechanism.
Like for the knowledge of our viewers, I would also like to reiterate most
You can
typical
set and
rockets,
hold
they
the
use
count on that.
pyrocords, which use
Timing,
explosive
Roger.
charge to shear out the bolts and separate or jettison the entire stage, which could be catastrophic for some sensitive payloads. That is
Yeah.
very costly and could be like you might
Timing
lose
calling
some data
control.
from the satellite and
Yeah.
affect its workability.
Control here, go ahead.
Definitely.
Still external hold mode is coming.
Right.
Noted.
Now, even after the payload fairing has
vehicle
separated,
director to launch
the job
control.
isn't done yet, right? The climb is
Please release
still
external
going
hold.
on. Stage 3 steps in and it generates quite a
Launch
large
control two
amount of
controls.
thrust
External hold
to
release.
essentially power the vehicle
Roger.
into orbit. It keeps pushing it to near orbital velocities.
Control.
And then
Request
comes
MCC
something
to
different,
release the
like we
hold.
talked about earlier. We have the orbital adjustment module that kicks in, and this is the stage that I got to work on very closely. Like I mentioned earlier, it was a team of very ingenious, multidisciplinary members. We had teams from systems, propulsion,
Timing, you can
dynamics,
set the revised T0 to
quality,
12:05,
safety,
30 hours
reliability,
Timing
CFD, design. I mean, you cannot count these fields on the fingers of your hand, and they all had to work in unison
Control to all ground stations.
build this stage.
All ground stations to
And
note.
then once
Revised
it starts
T0
working,
is
it
at
will precisely
12:05,
place
30 hours
all of
IST.
these satellites into its intended orbit. And you might feel like all of this is happening. There's so many things happening, right? But it's just 16 minutes. That's all it takes.
It's
T
so
minus 20
fast,
minutes.
but it seems really long. Like it took us like 1 hour from the entire bus stand to reach sriharikota. But as Suyash you pointed out, so it's such a we can say the entire rocket engineering, the complexity. Looking at the complexity of it, it's like an entire opera house. You have to be like a soprano. You have to be so perfect. Every system, every individual, and every component should be in tune to engage all the systems at the right moment so that we can have even a small ignition. And now we have Avikram 1, which has close to 1,000 subsystems, and almost 2/3 of it will be utilized just even at liftoff. That's really fascinating.
So we've gotten confirmation, and you might see it on your screen shortly as well. The countdown has restarted. We are resetting to T minus 20 minutes, and we are at T minus 19
Vehicle
minutes
director
for the
to Skyroot
information
CNC.
of all our
Please
viewers.
inform other ground stations about the new T0. Please
To
confirm on
control
that.
timing in external
Skyroot
hold mode.
CNC copied, new PGM files shared.
Roger.
Timing to control timing in external hold mode.
Roger.
Skyroot LCC to all. S2 and S3 HMS is event number 97 completed.
Roger. Control to LCC, MCC and RSO. Please note, timing confirmed, external hold mode.
Skyroot LCC to all station. New T0 is 12:05 30 seconds.
All right, we are hearing from the mission control that the new T0 time or the liftoff time for
T minus 18
mission
minutes.
Agman is reset to 12:05 p.m. So stay tuned. We'll be with you, and we'll give you some more space trivia. We have a lot of those, and we'll also take you through the journey of the rocket as well. You know, many of the times, one of the questions that comes is why space? You know, it's so hard. Getting to space is hard enough. Getting to space on the first try is even
All
harder.
stations to note,
So if
mission
it's so
director
hard,
authorized the launch
why do
of
it at all?
Vikram 1 mission Agman.
What does it hold of such huge importance that we want to strive for making to the stars?
I mean, if you think about it, all the activities that happen on Earth, they are connected in some or the other way to space. Space has quietly become a part of our daily life. Every weather forecast, every map that guides us home, every digital payment and long distance call leans on us. It all leans on a satellite somewhere overhead.
And I mean, it's like the human curiosity that takes you really farther. And like humans, we actually like complex things, and we just it's not just enough to stay on one planet. And so that's why the man decided to take a decision to set off to some higher horizons. And it is still, after 80, 90 years, the complexity still remains so high in space travel.
Yeah, and one question that comes about is how do you make all of that happen?
The new launch IST
So-
is 12:05 30 seconds.
Right,
Copy.
we've just gotten call out and confirmation that the
CNC
new
confirmed.
T0 is
New PGM
12:05
files have been
p.m.
shared with external
Just as a
stations for the
reiteration
same
to
unit.
all our viewers. Um,
Roger.
so we were talking about what it takes to make all of these happen, and of course we would like to thank ISRO for all their support, from opening the doors to the Satish Dhawan Space Center, the historic first launch pad, issuing us guidance and helping us with all the nitty-gritty details. They've worked with us day and night on this. They've treated this vehicle as though it were their own, and they're so committed to making sure that mission Agman reaches its intended orbit, that they've essentially become a part and parcel of the Skyroot family.
They treated
T-minus
the vehicle as
15
their own,
minutes.
as you correctly said, Suyash. Like, they have been involved with us throughout the entire campaign,
Vehicle director to
helped
Skyroot Launch
us,
Control.
and along
You
with
can
ISRO, we
reinitiate
would also like
an
to
automated launch
take a
sequence at
pause to
T-minus
thank
11
in
minutes.
space, and they have acted as a bridge between the government organization, facilitating all the review meetings, everything, and allowing us access to SHAR, all the policies, all the reforms. So thank you in space for all the efforts, and thank you for rooting for Skyroot.
Yeah, one interesting thing, and this is a personal experience as well. We did Mission Prarambh in November 2022, and believe it or not, the headquarters of InSpace were inaugurated in June 2022.
Just 6 months from our
Yeah.
first launch.
So you might have to imagine that it's just 6 months, and they've had to imagine and they have to write and draft all the policies that are required. They have to make sure that they know
T-minus 14
how
minutes.
the mission is going to be, regulated. What do we need to do to essentially handhold the space sector, the private space sector?
It was very seamless, indeed, very seamless. The way they took all of it.
Yeah, very true. It definitely is not an easy job, and they've excelled at it. Same goes with ISRO. We've had, cases where they've been chasing after us.
Yeah. I remember those days.
Yeah, and it's quite empowering to know that the government is playing such a huge role in helping make this happen. We talk about Atmanirbhar Bharat, we talk about Viksit Bharat 2047, and all of these technologies, what the private sector is trying to build today, is essentially contributing to that goal. If we want to be the world leaders, we need to start now.
Exactly, Suyesh. Like, I was fortunate enough to visit the LPSC test facility when I was with the Raman 1 test campaign. It was a very great experience. I mean, and the coordination with ISRO teams and the way they facilitated the entire test campaign and the data analysis and post test, the data came like really fast, and like they were after us and they were very patient with us. So yeah, that was a really great experience for the young engineer like me.
Yeah, and that sort of reminds me to the stage test that we did just a couple of months ago. I think nearly 9 months ago.
Yeah, around I think October.
Yeah, October, I think. And so that was the test of the orbital adjustment module. It was a all-inclusive test. We had the entire stage. We had all the engines, the thrusters. We had the avionics. We had something quite interesting
T
and
minus 12
melodic
minutes.
as well. We played Sare Jahan Se Acha using the Raman Mini thrusters on the stage, which was something very unique, very captivating to the young minds. Many people did not think that you could play music out of the screeching sounds of 50 Newton Raman Mini thrusters.
Again, an opera, I told you, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Before that year. Yeah, you say this. Just give me a go. When to say. Just give me a go when to say. अभी तो हम pause है ना.
T minus 11 minutes.
Automated launch sequence initiated.
Roger.
शायद नहीं.
All right, we're at T minus 11 minutes again, T minus 30, 10 minus 10:30, sorry. And the automatic launch sequence has begun. We are in the pre-checks phase at the moment, where all the teams are essentially checking the health of the vehicle once again, making sure that all systems are operational and go for launch.
Before that, we had one confirmation that all the ground stations supporting today's mission, they have
T-minus
completed their
10
readiness
minutes.
checks. As the vehicle travels downrange, telemetry will seamlessly transition between multiple ground stations, from Shah to Port Blair, then Bogor in Indonesia, and then finally Yatharaga in Australia. This network ensures continuous communication with the launch vehicle, with all mission data relayed back to mission control in real time.
That's right. And just to recap to all our viewers, some of the callouts that have happened till now. We first had the acquisition of day of launch winds, which is we acquire using a Doppler weather radar the winds prevalent. And as Akhil mentioned earlier, it's slightly a cloudy day today for launch, but come rain or sunshine, we are always ready to launch.
Yeah, the rain can't stop us, I think.
Yeah, and the next thing that we managed to do
T minus
is,
9 minutes.
of course, the guidance teams have completed the static navigation profile as well as the gyro compassing of the LINS package. So this is kind of the sensor which tells the attitude of the vehicle, essentially tells you how you're oriented with respect to Earth. And it's something very important that the vehicle has to do. It needs to know where north is and where the direction of gravity is. Post that, like Vede, he just confirmed, We've had all the ground stations. We have 4 ground stations supporting us today. Shar, which is where we are coming to you live from, and then we have Port Blair, following which we have Bogor in Indonesia, and finally the Yatharga ground station in Australia. So all of these ground stations essentially capture telemetry, which is the data from the
T
vehicle,
minus 8 minutes.
and relay it instantaneously to us.
Yeah, Suyash, you were mentioning about how we also see the wind profiles. The wind profiles are also checked. Just a while back, they were checked. And as I can see on the MCC, this wind profile or this data of the winds is also going to be uploaded into the mission computer in the sequence that is coming up. And also, one of the key milestones which have been completed is the transition from external ground power to the rocket's onboard batteries. The vehicle has relied on ground support systems till now, but from this point forward, every stage must successfully power itself. So engineers, I believe, are watching the battery performances and electric health right now to ensure that the transition is smooth and every system is remaining stable as of now.
And for this
T
ALS
minus
sequence
7
also, we
minutes.
have completed all the null checks for all the stage nozzles, and the FNCs are working as fine as possible. And we are also happy that Dr. Jitendra Singh, Honorable Minister of Space, is joining us live on video call, and he's rooting for Team Skyroot.
We are at T minus 6 minutes and counting. For the viewers who've just joined us recently, on your screens right now is the Skyroot Launch Control Center situated at Shar. We have many engineers looking at the vitals of the vehicle. This includes different teams, starting from
T minus
avionics,
6 minutes.
guidance, navigation, control, liquid propulsion, solid propulsion, safety, reliability, quality, and of course our IT teams as well. One of the things that has also been completed just now is the uploading of the mission computer init files. And that's a funny name of sorts, but it essentially means initialization files. These are essentially files that contain all the requisite parameters to tell the vehicle what it needs to do in the early ascent of flight. And it adjusts for the day of launch wind profiles that we talked about. It also has the gyro compassing
T minus
details
5
within
minutes.
it.
And now we have confirmation that mission computer mode has been successfully changed to flight mode, and we are really jubilant, and everybody is really happy that this stage has been successfully transitioned, and now we'll move towards the next check, that is HMSA disarming.
As we enter the final few minutes of countdown, another key safety milestone is underway. The head mount safe arm mechanism will be activated in a while, and till now it was ensured that the ignition chain has remained safely isolated.
That's right, Vedi. For the viewers who are very curious for this, the head mount safe arm mechanism, which we refer to as
T minus 4
HMSA,
minutes.
is a safety device which is well mounted at the head of our solid rocket motors. And the whole job of this device is to safely isolate the pyrotechnics from the rest of the solid grain. And the reason why we do that is for safety, to prevent any accidental ignition from, let's say, lightning strikes. We do have a cloudy day today, and of course we have lightning suppression systems. We have 4 lightning towers on the first launch pad. but there can also be some form of electrical runaway. There can also be static discharge. So to safeguard all these devices from electrical discharges, we have a mechanical separation between the pyro devices and the solid rocket motor.
Right, so yes. So till now, the ignition system,
T
it
minus
was
3
in
minutes.
a protective, non-firing state, but now it's going to move on to a state wherein once the mission computer gives the ignite command, it can initiate a pyrotechnic chain of events.
That's right. And we're at T minus 3 minutes, and we have confirmation that the stage 1 head mount safe arm mechanism, or the stage 1 HMSA, has been successfully armed.
This basically means that our motor is now ready to ignite.
That's really great to hear. Along with this HMSA safety mechanism, we have one more layer of safety, which we call the FTS or the CDS, Command District System or the Flight Termination System. This is utilized when if the vehicle during its flight mode tries to or like deviates from its intended flight trajectory, then the range safety officer can take a call to destruct the vehicle to safeguard the resources around it.
T minus 2 minutes.
That's right. As is with the case with any launch vehicle, we always prioritize safety. And with that in mind, we have all of these systems set up on the vehicle. We are now entering to condition the liquid stages on Vikram 1. So the orbital adjustment module is now conditioning itself and preparing for liftoff. So we are nearly at T minus 1 minute,
All stations.
and
Stand by for the
we will
timer.
leave you
T
with
minus
the
1 minute.
views of Vikram 1 and join you shortly at liftoff.
Minus 55 seconds. Minus 50 seconds. Minus 45 seconds. Minus 40 seconds. Minus 35 seconds. Minus 30 seconds.
Real-time programs activated.
Minus 25 seconds. Minus 20 seconds.
Minus 20 seconds is the call out now.
Minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
And we have liftoff of Vikram 1, India's first private orbital launch vehicle. And we have great views coming from the
Plus 10
tracking
seconds.
cameras. And isn't this quite something?
विक्रम 1 ने अपनी उड़ान भरी है, प्रथम चरण का प्रज्वलन प्रारंभ हो चुका है। विक्रम 1 ने प्रक्षेपण पथ को लांघकर आकाश को भेदने का निर्णय ले लिया है एक ब्रह्मास्त्र की तरह।
That's very true, Suyash and Akhil. I am awestruck at the sheer power that stage 1 is producing.
Plus 30
With
seconds.
this, we have two of our major prime mission objectives completed, which was successful ignition and safe tower clearance.
That's right. And we're coming up on max Q now, which is the period of maximum aerodynamic pressure, where the vehicle faces its largest aerodynamic loads as it flies through this zone at Mach 1.5 at an altitude of nearly 9 kilometers.
विक्रम 1 ने सफलतापूर्वक मैक्स
Star 1 main auto.
क्षेत्र पार कर लिया है और
Plus 1 minute. Shot 2 main auto.
दल काफी उत्साहित है इस समय और विक्रम 1 प्रथम चरण के आगे बढ़ रहा है और हमें श्रीहरिकोटा व पोर्ट ब्लेयर पृथ्वी स्टेशन से मजबूत दूर संकेत मिल रहे हैं, जो
S1
बहुत ही
performance
अच्छी
normal.
खबर है।
That's right. We are at a downrange distance of 22 kilometers with an altitude of 34 kilometers. And on your screens right now are excellent onboard camera views from the vehicle.
And we can also see quite nominal chamber pressure values on the MCC screen.
The vehicle is currently at an altitude
And-
of 50 kilometers.
और यहाँ पे प्रथम चरण का प्रतिकरण हो चुका है और द्वितीय चरण का प्रज्वलन भी प्रारंभ हो चुका है.
This is quite a major achievement for the nation, with the vehicle successfully
Plus 2 minutes.
separating stage 1 and the ignition of stage 2 as well.
द्वितीय चरण अपना सफलतापूर्वक कार्य पूरा कर रहा है और प्रथम चरण का दहन अथवा प्रतिकरण समाप्त हो चुका है.
The vehicle is at an altitude of 89 kilometers, traveling at 2.6 kilometers per second. Of course, our target velocity for today is 7.6.
S2 performance normal.
We've just heard call out that the S2 performance or the stage 2 performance is nominal.
ये एक ऐतिहासिक क्षण है पूरे भारत और निजी अंतरिक्ष यात्रा का.
This vehicle has crossed 100 kilometers of altitude, which is the notion of edge of space, and we have reached space, guys.
Congratulations,
Hello, sir.
Vikram 1 is in space.
हमारा यान अंतरिक्ष
Plus 3
तक पहुंच चुका है.
And we've had callouts of separation of the payload fairing. We have successful payload fairing separation.
It's
Payload-
nearly at an altitude of 120 kilometers, and the protective fairing is no
S2
longer required
separated.
and has been cleanly separated
S3
from the launch
motor
vehicle.
ignited.
और यहाँ पे द्वितीय चरण का भी प्रतिकरण संपन्न हो चुका है और तृतीय चरण का प्रज्वलन भी प्रारंभ हो चुका है.
That's right, Akhil. We've had successful ignition of stage 3. The vehicle is currently at 157 kilometers above the Earth's surface. It is 355 kilometers downrange, traveling at nearly 4 kilometers per second. Now, the
S3
telemetry
performance
will
normal.
switch over from Shar to Port Blair and further to Bogor.
अब यान अपनी अंतरिक्ष यात्रा पर निकल चुका है. तृतीय चरण का प्रज्वलन चालू है और उसकी
Plus 4 minutes.
प्रतिक्रिया नियमित रूप से चल रही है.
And as you can see on your screens, we have near exact following of the intended trajectory. The two dotted
SVP
the two
Volume 2
lines on your
tracking in
screen
main auto.
essentially indicate the current performance of the vehicle, and it closely matches with prediction. This is on your screen on board from stage 3. What you see is the rocket plume and the nozzle, and Earth, our home.
What a beautiful view. क्या सुंदर दृश्य है हमारी पृथ्वी का.
S3 performance normal.
और तृतीय चरण का परफॉर्मेंस अब नॉर्मल है, या कि सामान्य रूप से तृतीय चरण का संचालन प्रारंभ हो चुका है और चल रहा है.
That's right. We've had call out that the stage 3 performance is nominal.
Plus 5 minutes.
So stage 3 has a propellant loading of 2.5 tons, and we've had burnout of the stage 3 motor as planned at
S3
T plus
burnout.
5 minutes. Yes, we've gotten confirmation that S3 has burnt out, and now we're entering a planned coast period, something that lasts for 140 seconds, in which it's called as combined
Combined
coast.
coasting is normal.
Right, so we've got call out that the combined coast is nominal. This will last for roughly 140 seconds, where stage 3 is not producing thrust, but it's connected to the vehicle and it's going to coast as a single body. All of this is done to manage the altitude of the vehicle and also control where the stage will re-enter the Earth's atmosphere before splashing in international waters
Plus
in a
6
safe
minutes.
and planned manner. And jubilant views from the launch control center, where the teams are extremely elated and excited.
और मिशन नियंत्रण केंद्र और लॉन्च नियंत्रण केंद्र से आपको दृश्य दिखाई दे रहे हैं. सभी यान परीक्षण दल अत्यंत ही प्रसन्न हैं और यहाँ पर जो प्रसंग है वो एक उत्सव का प्रसंग बन चुका है. एक ऐतिहासिक क्षण भारत के निजी अंतरिक्ष उड़ान का. विक्रम 1 यान अब अंतरिक्ष में स्थापित हो चुका है। तृतीय चरण अब अपने कोस्ट फेज पे है और ये कोस्ट फेज अभी आप कैमरा व्यूज देख सकते हैं अपने प्रक्षेपण पर्दों या मोबाइल स्क्रीन्स पर, जहां पे आपको धरती का एक सुंदर दृश्य
Combined
दिखाई दे रहा
coasting
है।
is normal.
As we can see on our screens right now, it's really amazing to see that Vikram 1 as of now is going along its intended trajectory exactly
7
as
minutes.
expected. Our plots are really overlapping. The predicted velocities and the current flight velocities are exactly matching. And aren't you guys speechless right now?
आई मीन या मेरे पास शब्द ही नहीं है, मतलब ये मैं निशब्द हो चुका हूं।
That's right. We are approaching another point wherein S3 will separate.
S3 is separated.
और तृतीय चरण का प्रतिकरण भी हो चुका है।
And you see wonderful views of S3 separating. And now we have combined coasting has ended, and stage 4 will now coast on its own for the next 130 seconds. So stage 4 will now fly on its own, essentially. And
The control thrusters on the OM will be
S4
continuously
posting
turning
normal.
on and off to maintain the attitude of the stage, making sure that it is pointing the right way. This also ensures that the antennas can maintain connection with the ground station and the satellite can be pointing in the right direction.
that's right. So one unique thing that has been done during separation is we've essentially fired all 4 of our Raman Mini thrusters to sort of push stage 4 away from stage 3. And that just sort of guarantees that there is some minimum separation between the two.
अब आने वाला जो चरण है वो द्रव्य प्रणोदन पर आधारित होगा, जिसको हम कक्षा स्थापन या समायोजन खंड ऑर्बिट एडजस्टमेंट मॉड्यूल के नाम से भी जानते हैं, जिसमें द्रव्य प्रणोदन की अवस्थाओं से संचालन होगा जो मोनोमिथाइल हाइड्रोजीन और डाइनाइट्रोजन टाइट्राऑक्साइड पे आधारित
Plus
है।
9 minutes.
उसके साथ यान के घूर्णी नियंत्रण के लिए, जिसे कंट्रोल थ्रस्टर्स कहते हैं हम लोग, उन रामन मिनी 50 न्यूटन, वो भी मोनोमिथाइल हाइड्रोजीन और डाइनाइट्रोजन टेट्रा ऑक्साइड पर ही आधारित है। उसके अंतर्गत हमारे पास छोटे कोल्ड गैस थ्रस्टर्स जो कि नाइट्रोजन गैस पर आधारित हैं, वो भी कक्षा समायोजन खंड पे स्थित हैं।
S4 ignited.
And we've heard call out that S4 or stage 4 has ignited successfully.
और चतुर्थ और अंतिम चरण का भी प्रज्वलन हो चुका है।
The liquid engine has come alive over 400 kilometers above the Earth, beginning a burn that will last for more than 6 minutes. During this phase, the vehicle will steadily accelerate from about 6.68 kilometers
10
per
minutes.
second to nearly 7.64 kilometers per second, delivering the precise velocity needed to achieve its planned 450 by 450 kilometers circular low Earth orbit at a 60-degree inclination.
और यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हैं कि प्रक्षेपण नियंत्रण केंद्र में उत्साह का एक प्रसंग आ चुका है और आपके ऑन बोर्ड प्रक्षेपक पर्दों पर हम देख सकते हैं कि पेलोड्स या जो उपग्रह हैं उनका एक चित्र, यहाँ पे सारे उपग्रह अपने स्थान पर स्थित हैं।
That's right, Akhil. We've also had seamless transition from the
S4
port
performance
layer to
normal.
the Bogor station, and now we are receiving strong telemetry from the Bogor as well as the Yatharga stations in Indonesia and Australia
Plus 11
respectively.
minutes.
The current altitude of the vehicle is 426 kilometers. Our target is near 450. We're traveling at 6.5 kilometers per second. And like we said earlier, OAM is essentially going to fire its Raman 2 engine for a cumulative burn time of nearly 6+ minutes. So this is the longest burning. It's the smallest in thrust, but it burns for the longest period of time. And it's all given to us by Raman 2, our main engine for this mission.
So Yash, it must be a really amazing feeling, right? I mean, you and your team worked on this engine to get it going, and it is finally taking us to space.
Yeah, it's a feeling that's really hard to describe. Me and my team, we worked on this engine to get it going, and it's finally taking us to space.
Plus
This
12
engine
minutes.
wasn't an easy design. Raman 2 generates 1500 newtons of thrust, and it employs 3 different types of cooling. As if one wasn't enough, we had to put in 3. So we have regenerative cooling, then we have radiative cooling, and we have film cooling. And all 3 of these need to work seamlessly in sync to deliver this phenomenal outcome. So I'm kind of glued to the screens right now. You might just see me peeking over to try to see what the chamber pressure, what the thrust, and what the temperatures are like. But I think I might have to hold for a bit and look at that data in a little while. So while I was talking about Raman 2 and how difficult it was to essentially design an engine this small, um, like I said, it's a relatively small engine, and the cooling design on this was exceptionally difficult to manage because the engine has to generate a lot of heat during combustion, and the temperatures can reach up to 2700 degrees. That's pretty hot for any metal or any material to sustain. In fact, many metals would just vaporize into thin air at those temperatures. So to make all of this work, we employ something known as regenerative cooling.
S4 performance normal.
Yeah, and we've gotten call out that the S4 performance is nominal. And so I was mentioning about the regenerative cooling, and the best way to understand this type of cooling is to imagine
Plus 14 minutes.
multiple tubes joined side by side and then arranged into a circular fashion to form the thrust chamber. And these tubes, they need to be very, very thin to exchange heat effectively, which means that manufacturing is usually a challenge. And even after the temperatures would still be too high for normal metals to handle. And for this exact purpose, we employ something known as film cooling. And even though it sounds like a fancy name, it just involves injecting fine jets of fuel along the walls of the chamber to effectively add a barrier of colder gas between the combustion chamber and the metal walls. And essentially, one question I get asked very often is, if it's like that, then why is it called regenerative cooling, right? The whole thought process is the tiny tubes that we just talked about. Those
S4
tubes,
performance normal. Plus 15 minutes.
और यहाँ पर हमको मिशन नियंत्रण केंद्र से संकेत मिल रहे हैं कि चतुर्थ चरण का भी परफॉर्मेंस सामान्य है और अभी यान 450 किलोमीटर की ऊंचाई तक पहुंच चुका है जो कि उसका निर्धारित कक्षा है और कोस्ट फेज प्रारंभ है
जी हाँ, and it's traveling at 7.3 kilometers per second at an altitude of 453 kilometers right now. So coming back to the regenerative cooling point of things, the tiny tubes around the thrust chamber of the engine essentially have fuel pumped through it.
S4 thrust cutoff.
And we've got confirmation that we have cutoff of the Raman 2 engine, which means
Solaris
that,
satellite separate.
and we have separation of the
Scope
Solaris
satellite separate.
satellite and the Scope satellite.
Vikram
Both
1
satellites
Agaman
have
mission
been deployed
accomplished
successfully,
Handing over to mission
and we
director.
have reached space on our first
जी
attempt
हाँ,
successfully.
इतिहास में पहली बार एक यान ने अपने प्रथम परीक्षण उड़ान में ही उपग्रहों को उनकी निर्धारित कक्षा में स्थापित कर दिया है
And now comes something very, very interesting. You can see on your screen from on board the cosmic bloom and the micro art, and we have sun rising behind it. It is the dawn of a new space era.
ये एक नए अंतरिक्ष युग का प्रारंभ है. सूर्य के किरण ने ये प्रकाशित कर दिया है.
Skyroot has actually completely redefined orbital flights, I guess, forever.
यस, अवश्य. ये कथन बिल्कुल
Plus
सही है.
17 minutes.
So right now we are awaiting
Hello
the
everybody.
Cosmoser
Today we have
satellite
created history.
to
Vikram
perform.
1 Agaman mission is a grand success.
And we've heard call out from the mission director that the Agaman mission is a grand success.
सफलतापूर्वक प्रथम मिशन आगमन ने इतिहास के पन्नों में अपना नाम अंकित कर दिया है.
Hello space, we have arrived. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for being with us on this historic journey today. With Raman 2 and Vikram 1 now safely in orbit, we are not just reaching space, we are opening space for all.
आज की इस ऐतिहासिक उड़ान में हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए आपका हार्दिक धन्यवाद. विक्रम 1 ने सफलतापूर्वक सारे उपग्रहों को कक्षा में पहुंचा दिया है और भारत के अंतरिक्ष सफर में एक नया उज्जवल अध्याय खोल दिया है. धन्यवाद. जय हिंद, जय भारत.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. We'll let them celebrate. Good afternoon. I am privileged to formally announce that the first ever Indian private sector launch has been successfully completed. Not only did Vikram 1 meet its mission objective, which was simply to clear the tower. It went all the way up to 453-kilometer orbit, successfully completed all the tasks, and something that is way beyond expectation for the very first orbital launch ever taken by India private company. There is not much more that I want to say on this occasion. I would like to invite Pawan and Bharat to talk about their journey and how they feel today, this momentous milestone that Indian private sector space initiatives have had. And I would like to thank everyone involved in this. Of course, the Skyroot team. The Skyroot team has worked day and night to make this day happen, ably supported by the team from SAR, from Extended ISRO, and from InSpace. So thank you, everyone, for giving India this proud moment. Thank you. हाँ जी, आ रही है. हाँ, आ रही है.
हेलो
हेलो सर।
हेलो नमस्ते कौन बोल रहे हैं
हेलो वी आर पवन एंड भरत फ्रॉम स्काई रूट
कौन बोल रहे हैं
सर we are very privileged to hear you first your voice after the success
पवन भारत और पूरी टीम सबसे पहले तो आपको बहुत बहुत बधाई आपने दो काम किए हैं एक तो आसमान में नए पौधे गाड़ दिए हैं और दूसरा जमीन में भी उस रूट्स को आपने मजबूती दी है जो देश के नौजवानों को आगे आने की प्रेरणा देगी और मुझे ये सफलता के लिए तो आनंद होना ही होना था लेकिन आप लोगों ने जिस कमिटमेंट के साथ मेहनत की और मैं जब आपके इंफिनिटी कैंपस के उद्घाटन के लिए आपके साथ जुड़ा था मेरे को मन करता था मैं पहुंचूं लेकिन पहुंच नहीं पाया लेकिन आपके साथ वीडियो से जुड़ा था और आज भी मैं इस पूरे लॉन्चिंग कार्यक्रम को देख रहा था कब से मेरा ध्यान जो गया आपकी पूरी टीम 25-30 साल की दिखती है ये मुझे और खुशी दे रही थी शुरू में आपके चेहरे पर चिंता भी नजर आती थी लेकिन फिर मैं देख रहा था कि खुशियों से माहौल भर गया मैं आपको आपकी पूरी टीम को इस महत्वपूर्ण निर्णय के लिए और महत्वपूर्ण सफलता के लिए मैं बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं जब हम स्पेस को प्राइवेटाइज करना चाहते थे तब मेरे सामने कई सारी आशंकाएं रखी गई थी ये तो हो नहीं सकता कैसे करोगे वैसे करोगे लेकिन मैं इसको आगे बढ़ता ही गया अब आपके कारण मेरे उस निर्णय को ताकत मिल गई है अब मेरी टीम भी स्वीकार करेगी यहां देश के नौजवानों पर भरोसा करना चाहिए उनको काम देना चाहिए और वो करके दिखाते हैं आपने काम करके दिखाया है मैं आपकी और आपकी टीम को फिर से एक बार बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं
hello sir thanks a lot for your wishes and our team entire team of Skyroot more than 1,000 people are here in Sriharikota and listening to you our hearts are swelling with pride and this means a lot to us
देखिए ये मिशन आगमन है अब आगमन को तो और आगे बढ़ते ही जाना है
श्योर सर और सर आपका कार्ड जो आप भेजे थे दैट हैज सक्सेसफुली रीच स्पेस एंड यू हैव रिटन वंदे मातरम सो वंदे मातरम इज इन ऑर्बिट
देखिए मेरे लिए बहुत खुशी की बात है जब आपने सुझाव भेजा तो मेरे मन में कई विचार आए थे लेकिन आखिर मैंने सोचा मैं सिर्फ वंदे मातरम लिखूंगा उसके दो कारण थे इस बार हमारा देश वंदे मातरम के 150 वर्ष मना रहा है तो मैं चाहता था कि इसको एक नए तरीके से मनाएं और वंदे मातरम ही था जिसने देश के नौजवानों को हमेशा देश के लिए जीने मरने की प्रेरणा दी थी और आज वंदे मातरम हमें देश के लिए जीने की ताकत देता है और आप लोगों ने जी करके दिखाया है आपका जो कुछ भी मिशन है मैं इसको एक प्रकार से वंदे मातरम मिशन ही देखता हूं कि भारत मां की गरिमा को नई ऊंचाइयों पर पहुंचाना नई पीढ़ी को टेक्नोलॉजी को लाभ देना और नई पीढ़ी को टेक्नोलॉजी में आने के लिए प्रेरित करना, हर प्रकार से। और उसमें से मेरे मन में विचार आया कि लंबा कुछ ना लिखूं, सिर्फ वंदे मातरम मेरे भाव व्यक्त करूं। और मुझे खुशी है कि कल आपने उस बात को मीडिया से भी शेयर किया और आज इस सफलता के साथ वंदे मातरम का भाव भी नई ऊंचाइयों को पार कर रहा है।
थैंक यू सर।
मैं आपकी पूरी टीम को बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं और जल्द से जल्द आपको मिलने के लिए निमंत्रण भी देता हूं।
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Thank you, sir. We are privileged to hear you. I'm privileged to have your blessings. Entire team of Skyroot, entire India is really proud of your initiative to start the space program, open it up to private sector, and now we see historically, first time probably a private company have built and successfully reached an orbit in the first attempt. Thanks a lot. It's happening from India, and this is a 100% designed in India rocket, 100% manufactured in India, and I think thanks to entire team Skyroot, whose average age is just 28 years.
देखिए, समय था जब मैं आत्मनिर्भर भारत की बात करता था तो ना समझी में कुछ लोग उसकी मजाक उड़ाते थे, लेकिन आज आपने सिद्ध कर दिया कि हम इस क्षेत्र में भी आत्मनिर्भर बनने में समर्थ हैं और आपने उस समर्थक को दिखाया है। और मैं पक्का मानता हूं कि अब सबूत हमारे सामने है, साक्ष्य हमारे सामने है और ये आपकी टीम ने करके दिखाया है।
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
आज तो आपकी टीम खुशियां मनाने में लग रहेगी।
जरूर सर। एंड इनफैक्ट हम जब 2018 में स्काईरूट स्टार्ट किया था, उस टाइम पॉलिसी नहीं थे, देयर वाज नो फंडिंग एनवायरनमेंट और प्राइवेट सेक्टर में टैलेंट भी नहीं था, और हम फिर से हमारा जॉब्स छोड़ के स्काईरूट चालू किया था। एंड नाउ we are very proud that the government is enabled us and opened up the sector to private players, and now we stand as India's first private company which have launched a rocket to orbit and also created a global milestone, all from India, with a fully Indian team, 100% built in India. Thanks a lot for enabling this journey and also setting a big vision for 50 launches in 2030. Definitely, I don't see it as a challenge, sir. Thanks a lot for your encouragement and looking forward to meet you, sir, in person.
आप आगे बढ़िए, मैं पूरी तरह आपके साथ हूँ और आपको तो आगे बढ़िए नहीं कहना चाहिए, मुझे कहना चाहिए और ऊपर उड़िए।
थैंक यू सर।
जरूर सर, थैंक यू, थैंक्स अ लॉट सर।
चलिए, बहुत अभी आपको कुछ ना कुछ काम होगा, लेकिन सबसे पहले मेरा आपकी टीम को सचमुच में मुझे देखकर तो खुशी हो रही थी कि इतने मेरे देश के नौजवान क्या कमाल कर रहे हैं। यही मेरे लिए खुशी की बात थी। बहुत बहुत बधाई फिर से एक बार और बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं। और आपने जो टारगेट तय किया है वो समय से पहले टारगेट पूरा हो गया, मुझे पक्का विश्वास है।
थैंक यू सर, थैंक्स अ लॉट। हम जरूर कोशिश करेंगे।
ऑल द बेस्ट।
थैंक यू। Come. Absolutely no words. Go. It's so heartening to hear the Honorable Prime Minister talk so highly about Skyroot, so highly about India's youth. I think this is a historic moment, not just for Skyroot, for India, and also entire global space sector. In the first attempt reaching orbit, I never thought it was possible, and Skyroot team made it possible. Big shout out to this phenomenal team which made it happen. And in fact, this launch was nothing short of a suspense movie. We all experienced the highs, and never have we seen such suspense. And I think it's all worth it at the end. And I think really happy today, and that we have achieved something very rare, very unique. It shows the potential of India's talent. And today, in fact, we stand here at one of the best spaceports in the world, and we are very proud to launch Vikram 1 from the most versatile launch pads in the world, and really thank ISRO for enabling this. And more importantly, I would like to appreciate and also thank entire InSpace team, which has efficiently authorized this launch. And in fact, I've seen companies waiting for launch authorization for so much time, and India has proved it that government is the most efficient. And in fact, they enabled this launch in record time. There was zero delay in authorizing India's first private orbital launch. And like I was telling the Honorable Prime Minister with pride, this is a 100% designed in India rocket, 100% made in India rocket, built by 100% Indian people, for India, for the world. So in fact, I've written a speech, but I'm just out of words. And I'm so happy today, and really, this journey is only possible because first, Team Skyroot, of course, the government, the Honorable Prime Minister, for his vision to open up the sector to private players. And then now today, India is proud to be the fastest growing space tech ecosystem in the world. And now we achieve one of the biggest milestones ever in India's space sector. First private orbital rocket reaching orbit in the very first attempt. It still feels like a dream, and you all made this dream happen. I have no more words, and really appreciate everybody making this happen. In fact, we can see, I think all the hearts were racing up. It was not Skyroot, it was not InSpace, it was not ISRO, it was not the people watching, the public watching in the gallery, people watching online. Everybody's heart was beating for India, everybody's heart was beating for Mission Agaman. And we made it happen. It's one nation, one mission for the world. Thank you.
So I request all the Skyroot folks here, just come up on the stage. Don't leave any inch remaining on the stage. Please occupy the stage now. So as mentioned, there's simply we wanted to prepare something, but there's just simply no words. I just wanted to send the deep sense of gratitude to InSpace for being the enabling pillar